Did you know that Michael Jackson called the thing that killed him his milk? Nearly every night after rehearsals, he would beg his doctor, "Give me my milk." Not real milk, but Propofol, a powerful anesthetic used only in operating rooms. Despite having money, fame, and the ability to hire any doctor in the world, Michael Jackson died because a doctor left the room to flirt with a girl on the phone for 47 minutes. And the truth behind his final night is even more horrifying. From 1:30 a.m. to 10:40 a.m., Jackson was injected with 6 consecutive doses of sedatives and still couldn't sleep, until the final dose of Propofol made him never wake up again. I'm Dr. Minions, a master of medicine specializing in emergency and critical care, and if you're busy, please save this video to watch later. It was a night in June 2009. The brilliant lights of the Staples Center still lingered on Michael Jackson's face as he walked off the stage. Having just completed the final rehearsal for the This Is It tour, the most anticipated comeback tour of the decade, he hugged his dancers, thanked the production team, and said goodnight. God bless you. But few knew that behind that radiant smile was a man struggling with horrifying insomnia. Travis Payne, Jackson's longtime choreographer, recalled, "He looked so sharp. There was no sign that anything was wrong. He didn't seem weak or troubled." But the truth was, Jackson hadn't had a proper night's sleep in days. When the car brought him back to his mansion at 100 North Carrollwood Drive, Holmby Hills, the clock had struck 12:30 a.m. Fans were still waiting outside the iron gates, and Jackson stopped to greet them, something he often did. The security guard led him into the house and straight upstairs. Only 3 people were allowed on this floor: Jackson, his children, and Dr. Conrad Murray. In a bedroom that had been converted into a makeshift medical room, Dr. Conrad Murray was waiting with familiar vials of medicine. Jackson called Propofol his milk, a liquid as milky white as its namesake, but in reality a powerful anesthetic that should only be used in a surgical theater. For over 2 months, Murray had turned this habit into a nightly ritual. Every night after an exhausting rehearsal, Jackson would ask Murray to administer Propofol so he could get to sleep. But the night of June 24th was different. Jackson simply could not sleep. According to Murray's statement to the police, from 1:30 a.m. on June 25th, he tried to get Jackson to sleep using other sedatives. First 10 milligrams of Valium orally, then 2 milligrams of lorazepam intravenously at 2 a.m., followed by 2 milligrams of midazolam at 3 a.m., then another 2 milligrams of lorazepam at 5 a.m., and finally 2 milligrams of midazolam at 7:30 a.m. But Jackson still couldn't sleep. For 6 straight hours, he repeatedly begged Murray, "Please give me some milk. I need my milk." So why was Jackson so addicted to painkillers? The journey to his death began in 1984, when he suffered severe burns while filming a Pepsi commercial at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. On January 27, 1984, during the 6th take, pyrotechnics detonated earlier than planned, setting his hair on fire. He suffered second-degree burns to his scalp and lost a portion of his hair. This incident introduced Jackson to the world of painkillers and plastic surgery. On June 27, 1999, during the MJ and Friends concert in Munich, Germany, Jackson had another serious accident. While performing Earth Song, the flying platform he was on collapsed due to a technical malfunction, causing him to fall to the stage. After finishing the performance, Jackson collapsed in his dressing room and was taken to a Munich hospital with diagnosed chest and back injuries. From these traumas, Jackson developed chronic pain and severe insomnia. Medical experts stated that Jackson would sometimes go 3 to 5 days without sleep. By the late 90s, Jackson had developed a serious dependency on Propofol. According to Harvard sleep expert Dr. Charles Czeisler, Jackson may be the only human to ever have gone 60 days without any true REM sleep, an unwanted world record. Propofol does not provide essential REM sleep, it only induces a drug-induced coma. In early 2009, Jackson signed a lucrative contract with AEG Live to stage the This Is It concert series in London, with 50 sold-out shows. This was to be his comeback after 12 years without a major concert tour. Preparing for the tour quickly became an exhausting routine for Jackson. He had to dance, sing, keep up with the band, and work with the production team for hours on end, 5 to 6 days a week. As part of the deal with AEG, Jackson requested a personal physician to assist him during the tour. AEG hired Dr. Conrad Murray, a cardiologist who had known Jackson before and understood his special requests. Almost every night after rehearsals, Jackson would return to his mansion where Dr. Murray would administer Propofol and other drugs. They had even turned a bedroom into a medical room. Murray had been giving Jackson Propofol nearly every night for over 2 months to treat his insomnia. The autopsy report released on August 28, 2009 stated clearly this was a homicide. Jackson died from acute Propofol intoxication with a lethal level of Propofol in his blood. His personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was charged with involuntary manslaughter. During the 2011 trial, the prosecutor proved that Murray had committed extreme deviations from the standard of medical care. Murray's defense attorney hypothesized that Jackson had self-injected an additional dose of Propofol while Murray was away, but the jury did not believe it. After about 8 hours of deliberation, they found Murray guilty, and he was sentenced to 4 years in prison. How did the story unfold? After Jackson's continuous demands, finally at 10:40 a.m., Murray relented. He diluted 25 milligrams of Propofol with lidocaine and injected it into his IV line. This was the dose Murray considered small to help him sleep, but combined with the cocktail of benzodiazepines already in his system, it became a deadly ticking time bomb. What Murray didn't know, or had forgotten, is that Propofol can cause a patient to go from light sedation to deep sedation without any warning signs. In a state of deep sedation, the brain is no longer able to control respiration. And then the unforgivable happened. Murray left the room. Phone records show that over the next 47 minutes, Murray made 3 consecutive calls. 11:18 a.m., a call to his Las Vegas office, 32 minutes. 11:59 a.m., a call to another patient, 11 minutes. 12:03 p.m., a call to Sade Anding, a cocktail waitress in Houston he was flirting with, 4 minutes. In the final call with Sade Anding, she recalled Murray seemed distracted and was speaking haltingly. Midway through the conversation, Murray suddenly went silent. Anding heard coughing and a mumbled voice on the other end. When Murray returned to the room around 12 p.m., he discovered Jackson was no longer breathing. But instead of recognizing this as respiratory arrest, where the brain is no longer controlling breathing but the heart is still beating, Murray thought it was cardiac arrest. This mistake killed Jackson. Instead of providing oxygen, the one thing Jackson needed at that moment, Murray began performing CPR on the soft bed, a completely ineffective measure. He also did not call 911 immediately. Instead, Murray called Jackson's assistant, Michael Amir Williams, at 12:13 p.m. with a desperate message. "Call me right away. Please call me right away. Thank you." When Williams called back, Murray only said, "Michael had a bad reaction. Get here right away." Murray never mentioned calling 911. The emergency call was finally made by a security guard at 12:21 p.m. When the paramedics arrived, they found Murray performing CPR clumsily on the bed. Jackson was not connected to any monitoring equipment. No heart rate monitor, no blood pressure cuff, no blood oxygen sensor. The paramedics did their best. They moved Jackson to the floor, performed CPR correctly, administered epinephrine, and even intubated him. But it was too late. Jackson's brain had been deprived of oxygen for too long. At 1:07 p.m., the ambulance left the mansion with Jackson and Murray in the back. In the ambulance, Murray was still on the phone, calling his girlfriend Alvarez, a call that lasted 2 minutes. At UCLA Medical Center, doctors fought for an hour and a half, but Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was pronounced dead at 2:26 p.m. on June 25, 2009 at the age of 50. The death of Michael Jackson was not just a loss of a great artist, but also a cautionary tale about the dangers of drug abuse. And if you don't know about the devastating disease that Mr. Beast has, click on this link.